What is up, everyone? Another episode of Gym Guys Podcast, episode 25. And we have a phenomenal guest that we're going to get to momentarily. If you're into sups, if you're into working out, fitness, health, really any sport activity, you're going to want to pay attention because this is going to be your resource. I guarantee it if it's not already. I'm Chris Scotto. Drago1850 is my handle on Instagram. Everything animal, everything bodybuilding, everything classical bodybuilding, old school. That's my flavor. Next to me, I have Eric Schwartz, CEO of Poor Power. Also has his own supplement reviews on TikTok. No competition, Shane.
No, I'm not trying to compete.
but fabulous products in regards to health supplements regarding dogs. Check it out. Poor Power Nutrition, omegas, immunity, um, dog butter, which is where it all started from to help your dog take down their medications and just have a great treat. Phenomenal product with your dog's health in mind. Actually, in many cases, if not all cases, with even human health in mind. So he holds high standards with all the products that he makes. Below him, but not below him by stature by any stretch, Scott Applebaum, four-time IFBB Pro winner in July. We got to witness it in person at the Team Universe in Teaneck, New Jersey. An unbelievable win. Um, Integrated Wellness specializes in anti-aging, fitness, bodybuilding, weightlifting. This guy just turned, or he's going to turn 61.
That's correct. Yeah.
So pay attention to Scotty Apex, Scotty Applebaum. We when we have our co-host on the show, there's a reason for it. And again, you're going to want to follow his handles as well. So that brings us to our featured guest. Again, if you're into supplements, been following supplements for a long time, this is a gentleman that really has revolutionized the way to learn more, to have a resource about not only the content, also the way it's presented, the platform, the interface, the navigation. This is a unbelievable website that really kind of sets standards, but not just the website, the person behind it, what he does to research supplements to give you honest reviews. It's just a wealth of knowledge and just again a great resource if you're like, hey, I'm not sure if I'm going to start diving into a pre-workout or a multivitamin or a protein powder. I'm telling you, without further ado, you need to check out Stack3d. Allow me all to introduce to you Shane Smith, the CEO of Stack3d, 12 years running on this website. And again, you're going to want to pay attention and check this out as your primary resource. Shane, so great to have you. Thank you for making the time. Thank you for everything that you did at the Arnold as well. And I just think overall, for all of us here, I could speak on our behalf that you're just a trailblazer. And we're honored to have you. Just a great guy.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. I was as soon as you suggested it, I was like, yeah, I'll make the time whenever is needed. And so it's yeah, it's pleasure being on and chatting with you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
He's doing it at midnight his time. He's in the UK right now, so we definitely, appreciate you going above and beyond. I'd be asleep by now.
Well, you go to sleep. You go to sleep right after the show anyway.
Yeah, after the show, I'm done. Yeah, that's it.
It doesn't matter what country I'm in. I always shape
right
around Eastern time.
I know
Whatever
we all
Eastern
have a
time
lot
is,
of
that's
great.
where.
I know we all have a lot of great questions. I guess my one question, if I'd start, would be just like, what inspired you to do this? It's did you see a need for it? Did you just love supplements that much? Did you, what inspired you to do this? And then, Eric and Scotty will definitely grill you with some other great questions.
I was 2000, like I'm gonna say 2010. It might have been 11. It might have been 12. I can't remember. But around the time that blogs were ticking off, which was yeah around 2010, I had an online supplement store in New Zealand back in the day. It wasn't like fantastic, but one of the big things that kept coming up was you should do a blog for your store and blah blah blah, keep people up to date. So that was what I did. I didn't sell that many brands in the store. It was like maybe 10. So I was like, why don't I just share updates on these brands? And at the time, you would get the bodybuilding.com Olympia webcast, you'd get muscular development, you'd see all these ads and teasers and products, but you wouldn't find them online. And so I just basically would see these things and just be like, okay, well, this is what I would share on the blog. That just made sense to me. And then occasionally you'd come across products in different, this was back when they did like bodybuilding.com exclusive, GNC exclusive flavors, Vitamin Shop, and like you wouldn't be told this. This would just be a thing. You would just go to GNC and it would be there. There wasn't a place where you could go to see that it was announced or teased. And so I would be like, oh, wow, you could actually go get this at GNC and blah, blah, blah. And then eventually I noticed that no one going to the store was visiting the blog, and no one visiting the blog was going to the store. It was all completely separate. So I came home one night and then I just divided it, changed, separated the blog out into like its own little website called Stacked. I wanted Stacked with an E. It was taken. 3D was only because Jack was going off at the time.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And
That's interesting. Okay.
first thing that came to my mind was like, yeah, well, I'll put a 3 in it. And then sure enough, it was $9 a year for the domain. So I picked it up. And then yeah, it just Google had what you would call, they had a Blogspot or Blogger at the time. Basically, it was a free blogging platform. And so I signed up through that and just pretty much continued on what I was doing on the site, on the store separately. I did the logo, the design, like one afternoon. And then pretty much every second or third day after university, like college, I would come home, write a story or two, scour the internet to find something interesting, and then just schedule it once. I think it was once every 2 days, maybe once a day. And then it kind of just picked up from there. People just started sending them to us. People started like emailing these things. We'd find more. We added more brands that we wrote about, and then it kind of pretty much the basis of what it started like. It's what it is now. Just a lot more brands, a lot more products,
Yeah,
and
it's exploded.
yeah, it's a full-time thing now. So that
How
was
long?
the
How long were
humble beginning.
you? How long were you running it until you started making like money that it could be a full-time thing?
So I didn't get any money, or I didn't get paid anything for the first 3 years, 2, 3 years. It was just during college. It was just something I did afterwards. I
Right.
didn't cross my mind that anyone would pay me anything, even how I would do it. It wasn't until there was a company that asked to put a banner on the side, because Google, because you ran it through their platform, they automatically attached a banner to it. And then someone said, "Oh, could I put my banner there?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And I didn't think to charge. I just said, "Yeah, sure, let's put your banners there," because
Right.
that seemed like, I don't know why, but I just did. And then about 2 months later, someone else saw it and said, "Hey, can I put one above theirs? I'll pay you." First they asked how much, and I said, "How much do you think it's worth?" And they're like, "Oh, $400 a month." And I was like, "Damn." So I said yes straight away. This was from nothing to this.
Right.
Yeah.
And then again, 3 months later, I had someone say, "Hey, can I have one above those guys?" And in my head, I just doubled it. So I was like, "Oh, 800."
Right.
And they said, "Yeah, sure." Then someone got one like right at the top, which was we now call the header. And I literally just said same thing. I was like, "Oh, if you want the higher space, let's double that again. Let's say 1600." And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And then it kind of just went like
Nice.
that. And then about 2015 or 16 was when it became full time. Like I had about 3 or 4 part-time jobs that I did along the way and just dropped them piece by piece. And then I think it was 2015, I'm pretty sure it was 2015, that I just thought, imagine how much more fun it would be if I only did this. And so then I kind of just, yeah, took the risk and just focused entirely on that. Made life so much easier.
That's awesome, man.
It
Hey,
seems like at first you were going to them, the supplement companies, and then it sort of transitions where now they're coming to you. Correct?
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
100%. That's like his site and his social media is a place if you want to break
Yeah.
news, that's the go-to place. I worked for 3 supplement companies and, we all had those discussions. Oh, we want to get this news out, let's get it on Stacked first, you know.
Did that transition happen when you started getting those ad dollars? Is that when that transition sort of happened?
No, it was before then. Um, Even now, like I was I get hit up by about maybe 2 or 3 brands a day
Yeah, kind of
wanting to
figured that.
be featured on the site, and I'm still trying to keep up with everybody that I'm trying to already keep updates on. And so it's like it's pretty much I would think before we started doing advertising of any sort, I think people were hesitant originally, but then when I said they always assumed there was a cost. They always assumed like, oh, how much does it put it up there? I was like, oh, nothing. Like, what do you get out of it? And I was like, this is fun. That's what I thought.
Well, you're also getting
And
content. You had content to put up, so
yeah, but I mean, this was like at a time when I was just doing it for the hell of it. Like it
yeah.
was like just was what it was. And so people that didn't reach out, but then eventually reached out, always just assumed like it was going to cost something. And then I think once people realized that the focus was more on giving a comprehensive look of the entire industry and essentially around the world, you can visibly see that from the size of the brands we share. Some of them are big, some of them are really, really small, some of them are week old, some of them are brand new, some of them are from Belgium, some of them are from Japan. Like these are so many brands that you couldn't possibly think that all these people were paying me anything. Otherwise it would, yeah. And so it was once I think that started kind of getting around that it was just the goal was to be a place where everything was shared. That's when I think a lot of brands started just using the shit out of it, really, sending me
Yes.
everything they could. And that's yeah, continued through to today.
That's
That's
incredible. That story is incredible. You start out doing it as a hobby, and then you didn't really have an identity, and then because people thought they had to pay, and then when they realized they didn't, the floodgates probably just opened up. You know what I mean? So you put your time in doing it for free, and then it just started to really become a full-time business.
Well, yeah, I mean, when it was like I said, I did it in the afternoon after college.
Yeah.
I would just go home, do a bit, go to sleep, go back to school. That was really it. It didn't cross my mind that you could get paid doing it until I think yeah, someone said they would pay, and then I started looking at other blogs, so it's outside of the supplement industry because there wasn't really anything I could base it off. There wasn't like you had bodybuilding blogs, you had bodybuilding magazines, but nothing shaped around this. So it was I just used other platforms from like the technology industry and the gaming industry and stuff like that to see what I could do or what I could add. And that was, I mean, if you looked at the site when it started to now, I could name the website that I took ideas from and put it on my site from different industries around the world. You
Well,
wouldn't see it if you only know supplements.
you didn't want to reinvent the wheel. And you were a
Yeah, there were some things
trailblazer. You were a
that
trailblazer in this industry. Within the industry and the industry.
there were some things that worked really well that I didn't get examples of, and then there are some things that just you probably wouldn't remember because they came and went so quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, yeah, it was just trial and error, and some things work in this industry that just would never work in any other. So a lot of it was just trial and error, experience, and then just seeing how it goes.
you early on. You were my kind of like secret resource when I worked at Animal, and you. Not a lot of people knew about the site, and I looked really smart in meetings when I would talk about like the competition. I knew I was on like the cutting edge of the news, and you were my resource. I would just follow what you would write, and I looked very smart in front of everybody. So thank you.
Well, I mean, that was the goal was to, I mean, it's you have all these brands, especially not just in the US, but around the world now, doing some crazy, crazy things. And you just need, I think you needed to put it all in one place, not have any sort of barrier for that. Then you can kind of, yeah, you get a glimpse of everything, not just within the your local market. the local country, but just the entire world, which I think is I get feedback from companies all around the world saying the exact same thing. Guys their first language isn't English, they would say this pretty much the same statement. Just like, oh my God, I took all these ideas that I'd seen from this company and this company in the US and in Canada and all this stuff, and they brought it over to wherever they are, and they just said it works tremendously. But had they not kind of seen that or had that, they just may not have ever done it. So no, it's yeah, it's cool to hear. It's cool to see as well when you see that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I've been into stores around the world where I see such a collection of brands, like a gaming brand from Germany, this company from Sweden, this company from France, and I'm like, there's no way that you didn't see that collection of brands anywhere else in the world. I know those brands, and I know
Right.
when I put them on there. So I was like, there's no way you stumbled across them randomly. You had to have seen them
Right.
and then thought, oh, I'm going to reach out to them. And it's very cool seeing just that broad scope, especially internationally.
And what I really love about it is that there are other like supplement news sites, but most of them are like paid platforms and they only talk about brands that pay them to talk about them. And you kind of talk about everybody, which is great. So, it's like you get a lot more information. It's a lot less unbiased.
I feel like if you, my like I said, my goal was to share everything from everywhere, and I just didn't think that when someone reached out to me and said, "How much does it cost?" That was when I actually learned that I was like, "People pay for this?" Like I didn't. This was going back years and years, and I didn't think that was a possibility until someone actually said it to me. But my immediate reaction was just, again, you can have, I guess, a small, concise selection and then highlight them, or you can do little smaller highlights of every single brand you can in the world. And I don't think I touch on, I reckon I probably write about 25, 30%. I think it's a shitload more that I just am not even scratching it. I would say I would think close to 10,000 brands around the world. I would
Wow.
think, if I had to
Wow.
guess.
Yeah, and it's funny
Just,
because I'll say because I get your email every single day, and I'm like I speak to Eric. I'm like I cannot believe the amount of products that are being released on almost on a daily basis. It's intoxicating.
you get some countries where it's just not a thing, though. Like I've spoken to some guys before that said to me, they wouldn't share the new releases. They would just put them on shelves. And I said, why don't you hype it up? Why don't you get in there like, oh, they'll buy it next month. They'll buy it when they see it.
Thanks.
Some countries that I've talked to, and I'm just like, oh, okay, so this isn't a thing. Like you just don't care that much, or as much as like American market does. But you wouldn't know this until you spoke to them, and then you see the marketing that they do, and you're just like, oh wow, you really either the people don't care or you're just completely misreading them. Either way, there'll be brands out there that you just probably make tens of millions you wouldn't even know about. It's ridiculous.
So there's various different ways that consumers can get your information. Like Scotty says, he subscribes to your email. I get most of your stuff following on Instagram. Some people go to your website. Where is the majority of like people consuming your information?
I mean, it's a tricky one to say. I've always gauged it on share once and share everywhere else. There's an acronym for it. I can't remember the way it works. But the idea is that you share it on the site and then automates, well, you then direct everyone to the one place to find the ultimate source.
Right.
And so I would utilize various platforms like the email. It's got a picture and it's got a headline. If you want to know more, click it for the full
Right.
breakdown. Same with Instagram. It's just a brief picture. Maybe the caption slightly different. Facebook, LinkedIn.
Right.
So a lot of it's automated out of the website. So we always encourage people to go to the website because one, your value is mostly measured on the site, not necessarily measured on like how many likes or whatever you get on
Right.
social. Um, so we do a lot of things to encourage people to just go to the site, even if it's for like 5, 10 seconds. Like we don't put facts panels on social. Just we want people to at least come there a little bit extra further to get I
Sure.
guess the nitty gritty details. But I think it's, yeah, I think people have that outreach platform where they keep up with everything. That was kind of why we never did an app, because I didn't think that people cared that much about supplements to download a dedicated app. Whereas if we tried to put ourselves everywhere possible that they already had an app for, that would be the easier way to get them, or at least make sure you're on their radar.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan. You know, you get app fatigue where you don't want to download another app, like, you know.
Yeah.
I don't. I hate it.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't do it.
Well, what's funny is I guess it depends on the actually the population and the people that you're marketing to. Like I'm sitting at my desk and I know at 12 noon that mail's coming in.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, boom, it pops up and then I click right on it. So it depends. I guess your consumer, of information, it depends on that person. If someone's on social all day, they're gonna see you there versus someone that's sitting at a desk working and they have an email and it comes up on their email.
Oh yeah, it's like B2B people who sign up to the email. If I go through that email list, it's not a gmail.com people. We're talking like Glambia's, Nutrition 21. It's people within industry that are all signed up on that. It's which again further leads into the idea. I think it's very few people who download a dedicated app. They want to have something they can integrate to their current system to sort of stay up to date with everything.
Agreed.
Okay, I want to ask you a little bit about the industry and like kind of your opinions. This is kind of a twofold question. Out of the current trends in the industry, what do you really like and what do you dislike that's going on currently?
Ooh,
You don't have to name brands, just product types,
dislike.
Yeah. Is there anything that you
I inherently don't dislike like anything within the industry. I don't know why.
That's fair.
I just always like seeing someone in there's a brand in Italy who says he describes me as the rainbow of the supplement industry just because I try and find a good angle for most products.
Cool.
Occasionally you do get some pieces of shit, but current trend that I like,
Yeah, like
has to be the sports drink and the energy drink.
okay.
Like I understand that it's a lot.
I had a feeling that was gonna be your answer though.
Well, I knew you liked energy drinks, so I was
No shortage of that.
surprised, not surprised.
But it's not that I like this. I like it when things get like saturated. Like you, whenever there becomes an immense amount of competition, it forces a lot of evolution, except in protein powder. But like pre-workout, everyone jumps in on high stims, and then we go so high stim that the FDA takes away some shit.
Hmm.
Then they find another stim to replace DMAA. Then we got AMP citrate, DMHA. Then we like that amount of competition forces that category to have these pivot points and changes. If there was just 5 people in it, we would never have probably touched DMAA. They probably would never even got to these things. Same with weight loss. I think even hydration and energy drinks are going through the same thing. There used to just be taurine, caffeine, vitamins. Now you've got like actual pre-workout nootropic ingredients finding their ways into everyday energy drinks. That would never have happened had there not been this flood of hopefuls. I think all these people are trying to get that
Right.
piece of the pie, and I think sports drinks are about to do the same thing. So just electrolytes. Now we're going to get Ghost went and did it with their one. Endless Inspired did it with Endless with the anti-aging twist to it. I would assume the next year or so would be exact same thing. Just guys pushing the boundaries, and then I do like it when low sugar becomes the norm, or no sugar becomes the norm. I like it when you go to the energy drink coolers now, and majority of them are sugar free.
Yeah.
Whereas you go back 6-7 years, you would be hard pressed to probably be the bottom right hand corner. So I do like
You think Blue Thunder
those
had
kinds
sugar
of
in it
things.
back in the day?
Blue Thunder. I drank that stuff. Tasted nasty.
Yeah, it did. Maybe the majority of the people that are listening don't even know what Blue Thunder is.
No,
That was before Shane's time, even. Shane's a young buck.
Heard of
compared to
this?
us. It was American Bodybuilding. They were the first to really do RTDs. They had Carbo Force,
Oh, ABB.
Thunder. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a whole product line, you know?
they were in almost every gym, right? And every gym
Yeah,
cooler.
they really they would put there'd be a refrigerator in there, you know, it'd have their logo on it, and all their only their product would be in there, you know?
Yeah.
There it is. Look at that.
Shame when we broke bread, I
I
didn't
thought,
even get the chance to tell you about, yeah, that to what these guys just said. It was them versus Nature's Best, which is now Glambia for the most part, and they would go at each other with Grenade and
Yes.
Perfect RX and the
And
TNT. Right, there was so many of those RTDs back in the
Twin
day.
Lab.
Well,
Eventually, you had the Carbo Fuel in the glass bottles.
yeah,
Yes.
100
Yeah.
100
Yeah.
grams of carbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know
So,
what was different back then, just to
yeah,
just to jump, is that because I was in so many gyms, the guy that delivered, American bodybuilding product, he would come in and he would be, talking to whoever was running the club, and he'd spend some time with them. So there was a relationship there, you know. That's what I noticed. I don't know about anybody else.
Definitely. Actually, I had a small stint with Nature's Best when they were all about the fridge, and I'd have to deliver, introduce myself, open up accounts, visit accounts, deliver drinks, and it was like being a Pepsi, Coca-Cola, delivery
Yeah.
person. So you sold sups in tubs, but also RTDs. You had to fill the fridge. You actually even had to deliver a fridge if it was a new gym. The big, the true fridges. So that was a fun time, just being able to discover new places and
Yeah.
introduce
Yeah.
people to new products that way.
And my favorite product was Turbo T.
Turbo
Turbo
T.
T. I do remember that.
I loved as American bodybuilder. I loved it.
Was that an energy or was it like a fat burn? I don't recall.
I think that at that point they called it a fat burn. I mean, this is back. That's a long time ago. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I do
But I
recall.
love the taste of that.
It's a win-win for consumers because, as like Shane says, the companies
yeah.
come out with better formulas, better flavors. It's a win-win.
Yeah.
We had one last thing
Yeah.
to say about it is we had one drink at Nature's Best for this short stint I was there called Grenade, not the grenade that you know now,
Interesting.
Shane.
Yeah.
And I think you once told me, or someone told me, man, had they at Nature's Best only kept that name and patented it, they could have sold it to the guy who's got the Grenade brand.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing about Grenade, as we're talking about fat burning, is it was like the first drink of its kind to put Garcinia cambogia in the drink. As I guess an appetite suppressant, right? Or, whatever fat burning properties it has. And we sold tons of it. And the last thing I'll say about it is the actual bottle um, had the feel and texture of a grenade.
Really. That's very
Yes.
cool.
I'm gonna have to
And,
dig this up. I'm gonna have to
well,
hunt this
and
down.
Shane, I don't know. I mean, this goes really far back when ephedrine was in every product. Remember that, Chris? And
Oh,
they
yeah.
actually put ephedrine in bars. They put them in
Yeah,
bars.
Mhm.
Protein powders, right? Rip Fuel from Twin Lab had
Put in everything.
Yeah.
protein with ephedrine in it. Yeah, and Ultimate Orange too, of course. Yeah, we
Yeah,
saved you
that
some
was
old
right before
stock,
my
Shane. We'll
time.
send it to you.
That was
I,
the
I,
that was the
I want to
We're
ask
old.
Shane.
We're,
Yeah,
we're very old. We're old. That's when we talk about the decades ago, decades and decades.
I want to ask Shane about more modern products. So, talk me off the ledge here, Shane. So, in my opinion, and I'm probably wrong, but it feels like 90% of the pre-workouts are almost identical. 350 caffeine, citrulline, beta alanine. It's like they all follow the same formula. Am I wrong? Are we seeing, are we going to see more innovation in that category or just more copycat stuff?
but that's where I think the premium pre-workout forced itself into uh like focus, right? I think when we started seeing a lot of the same, I don't know if it was companies doing the same shit, but I would feel like it's a chicken and egg thing. I reckon if you asked every consumer what your ingredients, like Jim brought about the whole encouragement of education,
Right.
know the ingredients to look for, know the dosages to look for. And I think that he inherently probably encouraged people to do it too much, to the sense where they were like, if this doesn't have these in it, I ain't buying shit. So I feel like it was sort of brands were forced to put these things in there, like all of them. And then I would say it was around 2018. I sincerely believe it was when C4 did C4 Dynasty.
Ah, yes.
The like the $65, $70 pre-workout. This was 17 or 18 maybe. At the time, everyone kind of laughed at, like they were like, "Oh, who's going to spend that much on C4?" I remember the comments, people being like, "Why do?" If I'm not mistaken, there was 6.4 beta alanine. People saying that was too much, the price was too high. And then lo and behold, a year later, we saw another one, the brand do similar. A couple more brands popped up where they were only selling $60 pre-workouts, $60
Right.
supplements. Now you've got, you did pre-gym X, you got pre-caged elite. Rise has
Echovision,
its Godzilla
Thrower.
series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got all these brands doing these $50 to $65 pre-workouts, which probably wouldn't have even sold 6, 7 years ago. But now this is common. And I think it's great because I think it encourages people to spend more. And once you get past the core ingredients that everyone wants to see, which is inherently $30 to $40 pre-workouts, you can then start doing things differently. And I think when you look at that $60 price point, there are very few pre-workouts that are like remote, not even remotely close. They're all so different because brands have like, well, shit, what else can I put in there now? Now that I've got the staples,
Right.
how can I show my personality? I think Apollon does a great job of that. He shows very well
Yes.
what sets him apart. Jim went and did exactly what you thought he would do with his pre-gym X. I think most of these brands are just, it's cool because it shows you what they would do or how they would differentiate themselves without these necessary ingredients to make it a pre-workout per se.
Right.
And so I think it's, yeah, if you're looking 30 to $45, I would think that everything's gonna look very much the same.
Right.
Um, but I want you, now that we're at the 50 to 60, there it's a lot different. And you're seeing that sort of reaction around the world as well. I know you're seeing these higher priced pre-workouts in different markets, which higher priced in India or Sweden or whatever is different from the US, but you are still seeing people willing to spend more to get more and sort of allowing brands to differentiate. So it's yeah, I'm more interested in those spend $20 more, get, take a chance on something that might be just the right blend for you.
Right. Right. It's almost becoming like a dick measuring contest. Who could put the most patented
Oh yeah.
ingredients? Who can have the biggest
It's
scoop
always been a dick
size?
measuring contest though.
Right.
It's always been about
Yeah. Guess you're right.
it's just I like it. I think it's great. It's
Again, I
what
think it's a
better
win
way to
for,
constantly
yeah, it's a win for the consumer.
push the boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think
but
That's
it's
Alpha Yo in it.
and, you know, most people, given a higher price, high quality product versus a lower price, lower quality product, will always pick the higher price, higher quality product
yeah.
without a doubt.
I find it funny because if you remember back in 2000 and early teens, when you got those higher priced products, it wasn't, you weren't getting your money's worth. Every time you got these late 70, 60, whatever supplements, they were like window dressing almost. They were just, there were a few brands at the time that were doing them that were just kind of like not doing what the brands now are doing, where you spend more, you get a lot more in the supplement. Whereas back then they were kind of the things that were just marketed better or more specific and unique. So I think it's cool now seeing that you can spend that extra money and not be fooled almost. Because you would catch a pre-workout back in the day that was $80 and it was just full of shit. And
Yeah.
the internet convinced you to buy it and you thought it was worth $80 and then you find out that it sucks and then you hate supplements forever. Whereas now you can spend this money and I mean you can almost trust that it's going to be worth the money.
Consumers are
I
far more educated nowadays.
Well, I was going to say that. I mean, back then it was all sizzle, no steak, but now you can't be all sizzle, no steak because the consumer is a lot more educated.
Yeah.
Reviews will kill you, right? You gotta be making real stuff that people are gonna give positive reviews of. Otherwise, that's what's gonna talk for you and make or break your brand or make or break your product.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, at the end of the day, the consumer does win though. So it's doesn't matter how we got there, we
Yeah.
got there.
It's a wonderful time. Like, we talk about the old supplements all the time. We had, you had barely any choices. The stuff tasted like crap. I mean, it's a great time to be a consumer. But it's also could be a confusing time because there's so much to choose. And you could walk into a store or look online on Amazon or anywhere else, and there's so many choices. How does a consumer decide to pick up X pre-workout over Y pre-workout or Y brand over X brand?
I think it's the branding thing now, right? Like it's
To me, branding separates. Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. I mean, if you had the exact same supplement and it was pink, and then you had the exact same supplement and it was blue, I would think 9 times out of 10 that the man would probably just grab the blue and not even look at the pink.
Yeah.
Like
The good
I would think
brands,
that in it,
the good brands connect with the consumer on an emotional level.
yeah,
They invoke some
I
kind
think
of
the
emotion.
yeah,
Well,
when they
because
sell the
they sell.
lifestyle, like animals always done that tremendously well. I think that's a key part in these days when, like you said, a lot of them can seem very similar.
Right.
And
Yes.
speaking to what you said, you feel like you're part of that brand. That's why you wear their
Yeah,
sportswear as well. Recently,
Community.
Community, Redcon signed, Dion, you know, and,
I think that was a weird signing, but okay.
And now I see all their sportswear has Prime on the side of it.
Well, they didn't just sign him; he actually became part owner of him.
Yeah,
He got
exactly.
yeah.
equity in the company. I think it's weird. We'll see how that plays out. I thought it was kind of odd, though.
There's going to be a Prime series, I believe. There's the
Yeah,
Oh, for
Prime
yeah,
sure,
well,
for
flavor
sure, for sure.
energy drink. Forgot the name of it. Primetime Punch, I believe it's called, for the energy
interesting.
drink.
You would think he would attract like a lot of the college market because he's a college football coach. You would think that maybe they're trying to go after that demographic. I'm not sure what their plan is with that.
We'll
I thought it
find
was,
out.
I
I
mean,
thought it
it
was
does
an
help
odd
elevate
signing.
reputation.
Oh, it definitely gets eyeballs, and I know that's something that they like. It
Yeah.
definitely gets a lot of eyeballs. And I just saw Martha Stewart now is with
Yes. Well, I saw it on your news, on your email.
yeah.
Is that April Fool's?
No, that was real, right? Or no? Was
It
that an
was
April Fool's joke?
no,
I got fooled on
it was
that?
real.
Oh, it is
No,
real.
that
Okay,
No, it
okay.
was real.
Okay.
Oh man.
I thought
Because
I got fooled.
they sent it to me and they were like, "Hey man, can you announce this on on April 1st?" And I was like,
people are not
"Oh,
going to believe it.
this is a fun little joke." And he's like, "Oh, it's not a joke." And I was like, "Dude, it's okay. Like you don't need to like if it's a joke, I'll play along." And he's like, "No." He's like, "Do you think it would come off like that?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, it's gonna come off like that. What's wrong with you? It's Martha Stewart and a supplement company.
Yeah,
What do
it's
you
just
think?"
she's
So
I'm still
they
waiting for him
announced
to
it
say he's
the day
kidding right
later.
now.
He's not.
she's
It's
not
real.
like yeah, I mean it'll get eyeballs, but will it convert to sales? I don't know. She's not been
Well,
known as like a health person or a supplement person.
they're
I
they're
thought it was
probably
very
targeting a
interesting.
specific market. They're probably specifically targeting, the older generation. I would imagine. I'm guessing. I don't know.
Well,
But the
Yeah.
time will
line is
tell.
sold alongside the brands with other stuff. So you've got Martha Stewart's collagen alongside this high stim pre-workout. It's
Yeah,
not
it's odd. It's very odd to me. We'll see. And I'm sure she didn't
Yeah.
come cheap as an endorser.
good on
So
them. Good on them for pulling it off. I think
yeah,
it's again, I thought it was a joke, but no, they were very real.
okay,
They were very real.
interesting.
Wow. I'm speechless on this one. Gonna compete
Um,
with Sarah Lee supplements.
if you had to guess, Shane, and this is just a complete guess, but knowing like what you know about the market and everything in 2024, this year, who do you think as a brand is going to be like a breakout brand? Is there anybody that you think is like coming up, that's not really known very well, but might like really break out this year?
Yes. None that come to mind. I mean, there are brands that are going to make moves, I think. I mean, Ghosted, they're putting a lot more attention into supplements. So they might have somewhat of a breakout, I guess, but they're already like a giant, so it's hard to sort of say.
Right. I mean, Ghost is already. That's what I
And I
mean. They're
think
like already well established. I saw they Ghost cereal. That looks interesting.
that was surprising. I mean,
It kind of makes
I got
sense
the
for
email and
them.
I was still surprised.
And
See,
what
now
they
I
did
thought
was,
that was April Fool's.
no, what they did, and it's
Oh, that
very
was real?
unique. General Mills is licensing Ghost.
Wow.
It's different than their other licenses where Ghost was licensing flavors from other companies. General Mills is actually licensing the Ghost name to sell the cereal, which is really like,
Wow.
I got to hand it to them. Like Ghost, as a consumer, their brand does not, I'm not attracted to their brand at all, but I'm not their target demographic anyway.
Would you say their demographics 18 to 24?
I don't know if I could put that exact number on it, but it is a younger demographic. Yeah. But I've always admired what they've done from a branding and marketing standpoint. They just execute, they have great strategy and they execute really well.
I could, if you guys want me to show it on the screen, I can.
Yeah,
No
show
one
it. The cereal, I mean, I haven't got it, I didn't see
Good.
the macros yet, but I'm sure it's probably going to be like the Magic Spoon type, high protein.
Not,
Shane, have
it's
you
not
seen it?
as, it's not as low as Magic Spoon, no.
Okay.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Actually, pretty sure I have the panel there, I think, maybe.
You probably do. I didn't have a chance to like really look at it this afternoon. I just saw
It's
the
18
announcement.
protein, is it 11 carbs, maybe?
Okay.
I'd
I
have to
think they're going to do
guess.
very well with this.
Well,
There you go.
And I got to assume that it tastes good because Ghost is pretty
That's
good with
pretty
their flavors.
impressive.
Let's see. 7 grams of fat, 3.5 saturated, 11 carbs. It's not Coach
wish I-
Scotty approved, but it
I
is a
wish I could
healthier, a better than you cereal for sure.
Once you get into those casinates,
No protein, sodium caseinate is good. Soy, peanut butter.
using allulose too.
I think it'll be interesting to see the price.
I would guess it's got to be like in that Magic Spoon category with the price, right?
$10 cereal.
They're pretty expensive. The thing with
Yeah,
Magic Spoon,
Spoon is,
I don't know if they still do it, but they used to force you to buy 4 boxes at a time. You couldn't buy 1
they
box.
do this.
They still do it?
I mean, I've ordered from them several times. I'm
Yeah,
more than happy to pay that.
I actually like the Magic Spoon.
This looks for cereal. This actually is a decent profile.
Yeah, you're right. It's not as low carb as I thought, but I bet it tastes phenomenal with those macros.
Oh yeah, and the interesting part is the how they got the skim milk. So I think it was the milk. With the milk, the skim milk, it bumps it up to closer to that. I think it's that 24, 25 gram per serving.
There you go.
So they kind of kept it
Sure.
roughly in the area of their protein powder,
Right.
which I thought
And
was a nice little like touch.
You know what's interesting? These guys are very authentic. They were really into cereal. Like they were giving out cereal bowls with the cereal milk stuff, and
Yeah.
they like to eat cereal
Yeah.
themselves. So it's kind of authentic, which is interesting.
It definitely could be something.
Yeah.
Good for them. I said, see, like I said, all this stuff comes out in April Fools are around it. I'm thinking it's just a joke.
Yeah, and that
Nah, this is
category of
real.
just like high protein, better for you foods has exploded also in recent few years.
You know what I noticed from a nutritional
Yeah.
standpoint? It has doesn't have a lot of preservatives in it, so its shelf life is not going to be that long.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody. I mean, I noticed it. You know what I mean? Rosemary extract, by the way, is a preservative, and they're using vitamin E as a to preserve freshness, which
Right.
it doesn't last that long. You know?
I wonder what the shelf life is on that. Interesting.
1 post-workout meal. That'd be that.
Yeah, there you go. I think it was like 7 or 8 servings a box.
Is that what it is? Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, it's probably going to be $8 to
Yeah, there you
$10 a
go.
box, I'm guessing.
8 servings per container.
Yeah, 8. There you go.
Who has 1
So
cup
8
of
times
cereal?
Right, that's the hard part, right? Is to just stick to that
Well,
one
you
cup.
need 50 grams of protein, so throw down
Scott, if you allow me to
3
eat ghost
servings.
cereal,
That is not Coach Scotty approved for
Oh
many
no,
reasons.
the seed oil is
I knew he was going to go for the seed oils. I knew
Yeah,
that was
got me cringing. You know.
Speaking of subs, we got to talk about your special edition here. Where am I?
Yeah, let's
finding
talk
it?
about that. You've done a collab, right, with Farmer Freak? Is that
was
correct?
it? Oh, sure did. You have to search for that. I think it's it'll be
Should
there
be the top
somewhere.
story, buddy. Should be that.
that's the problem with Stacked, man. It's we cycle through so many things so quickly.
True. So
Um,
did you
the
go ahead? I'm sorry.
oh, they pretty much. I think he must have seen. Maybe he saw us do another one. Um, and it was I can't, it must have been another collaboration. If you just type in Stacked Freak, it should come up pretty quickly.
Okay.
Just make sure you
Maybe
spell
I
it with an ED and put a space in it. Yeah,
Oh, you did. There you go.
then it'll come up pretty quickly.
All
There it
right.
is.
Um,
Were you part of the formulation here? Is that how the collab worked or no?
yeah, so they kind of the guy there, Alex, I've known him for a while. He came to me and asked if I would do one, and I think initially the formula I don't think was just not going to work because I kind of wanted to have kind of wanted to juice it up. And then I think we came back around like several months later, and he was like, kind of showed me a formula. I was like, okay, this is I'm down with this if we can make a few more tweaks to bump things up. And obviously, Pharma Freak is a very mainstream brand, distributed all over the world. So I never wanted to. Uh, if I did a collab with different brands, I didn't want to have the same goal in mind with each brand, right? If I did a collab
Yeah.
with someone and collab with someone else, I wouldn't want to be trying to put the same formula on each one. I'd rather sort of try and suit something around the brand. And they had a certain style and level that they wanted to go for. I think the price on it's like $35, which is a damn good deal.
Oh, that's great.
Um, and yeah, they kind of bought a formula, and I added a few things. Got to put up a few dosages, and then they put in their little few twists and tweaks on their side, sort of make it a Pharma Freak supplement, and I think it balanced out really good. Um, Tastes amazing, and
Just the one flavor,
pump
right?
clarity
Just the
and
one flavor.
focus on this.
Chris, can you pull
Yeah,
up the formula?
mango.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you go to the top post,
Got
should
it.
be that one. Should be this one.
Yeah. I think I saw it from
Yes, I
their
think
site,
this
but
is
I'm not
it.
sure if it was it
There you go.
$59.99?
Well, it'll be 59.99 Canadian,
Canadian.
44 US, and then I think if you sign up to their email list, it drops to 35, I think.
Okay. I gotta support you with
Um,
this. I gotta try it.
yeah,
Six
it's
for
nice and like I mean, in that price point, it's like I said, there were very few things a few things we had to make sure were in there.
Right.
Um,
That's a
citrulline
very,
betaine were a couple.
very well-rounded formula. So you got
Yeah, I don't think I've ever
375
tried.
caffeine and 2 scoops, right? That's the
I don't know if I've ever tried a
I
menthol
wanted
flavor.
more. I wanted
I
more,
figured
but
you would want more. I like the lower stem stuff, but yes, I figured you would want more.
What
you can
flavors
have a
are there, by
single
the way?
scoop.
What flavors?
I just want flavor mango, peach mango, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's the one flavor.
We did a few of them, but that was the one that kind of just I think came out the most accurate and the tastiest.
Not easy to
I'm not a
flavor a
huge
pre-workout
flavor person.
because a lot of those ingredients are bitter.
Yeah.
Milligrams of
Yeah, the
protein bar.
taste on this one turned out really good. Like I don't usually give a shit about the taste, but you know, I said to him, I was like, it's a nice surprise that it tastes good. It wasn't going to change my mind if it didn't, but it
Well,
turned out pretty cool.
congratulations, man.
I
That's
think it's our third.
pretty darn cool that a
Yeah, it's very cool.
platform
Oh
is
yeah,
able to collab with a sub company and make their own product. I mean, you're talking about the progression throughout the whole, segment from where you started to online to now your platform was the pull, not the products itself was the pull, and here you are now collaborating with your
Yeah.
own sub, which is what a great story.
Yeah. Very good story.
yeah. We've done a few flavors as well. So I think we did some collab flavors in the past. We did one with the pollen. We did one with Performax,
Oh, I didn't know that.
and so I think this was just this was meant to be a flavor, and then I think we're gonna tweak a pre-workout, and then we kind of realized probably gonna redo the whole thing. Yeah. So it evolved into this, and the name just, I mean, you couldn't not call it that.
Yeah, the name's
Thought that was
perfect. Yeah, perfect.
we put freak on the end of every product they have, so I thought
Right, right.
Yeah.
Stack Freak made sense.
Yeah,
And I got to actually include it how it was originally intended to be spelled.
right.
Yeah.
Although I
Right.
like the 3D, I kind of like the story now, so I like that.
Very
Yeah, but
cool.
everyone pronounces it Stack3d. Everyone still
Yeah.
says Stack3d.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's yeah.
it is what it
But
is, man.
like I get it.
Yeah,
You know, you can't change it. You read it how you read it.
yeah.
So I assume this is going to be a nice little launch at the next Stack3d Expo.
Well, let's talk about that for those that don't know. Shane had this really cool idea and pulled off and executed it very, very well from what I heard. I wasn't there, but pulled it off. Well, first,
The old
oh,
one.
you're showing the digital expo. Yeah, I apologize. Let's
Yeah,
take a
that's the
step
old
back.
one.
That was actually I think the first one to ever do a digital expo. I, I never
Funny
heard
thing
of anybody
was
else.
the only reason I did this was because I didn't think that I could ever do a physical one.
Well, you did a physical one, so you did pull it
Yeah.
off, man.
Yeah,
Definitely
but
tell
I
us
did
about
this
the
in I did this happened in 2017, the first one of this that I did.
Yeah,
And that
I
was
rem
purely because I was like, there was, if you remember back when the Olympia and the Arnold went down, the brands would announce products during that week.
Yep,
They would kind of save them up.
sure.
And so I was like, well, I can't do a physical show. How about I do an online one and see if I can get people to announce them around our one? And that was pretty much the whole reason that it happened.
No, it's very smart. I mean, when I was at Animal, we participated. I know at NutriBio, we participated in it. It's very smart and a very cool thing. And now you manifested that into the physical one, which you pulled off at the Arnold, which was the Stack
The Arnold thing
Pavilion.
was uh was their suggestion
You should
because
take credit. Don't say that. Take credit.
he because he they called me up because they wanted to advertise, and I originally said you know what's the reason, like what's the goal behind the advertising thing, and you know they wanted to reach smaller brands, moderate sized brands. They wanted to add more back into the show, and I said and I kind of just reiterated a couple complaints that I'd heard, and I just said like these guys hate this, these guys hate that, and they were like, oh wow, I hadn't heard this before. And you know, I didn't have any room for them to advertise anyway, so I didn't really care. And so I was just kind of telling them like what brands had told me, and then he said, "Well, did you reckon if we could rectify this or change this, you would approach and pitch the idea to some of these smaller brands?" And I was like, "If you can guarantee none of this shit like it's gonna have them complaining, then yeah, I don't see why not." And there's like and then we could put it all into a little section called the Stacked Pavilion. And I was like, and he said you could put this, you could have a sign above it. And I was straight away, I was like, I'm down. Sign me up.
That's
I don't care about
great.
anything else. If you put a sign in the stars for me, that's the best.
And I'm assuming that the booths were more affordable in the Stack Pavilion than if one of these brands took their own 10 by 10 booth somewhere else, right?
So if you went to the Arnold and probably, well, first of all, you wouldn't get a 10 by 10 or a 10 by 20 in the place that we were. Usually they put bigger spaces where we were. So generally, if you're a 10 by 10, like a smaller company, you get pushed near the edge because they want the bigger ones in the middle, or they want the bigger ones in the prominent placement. So you wouldn't get that better placement to begin with, realistically.
Right.
And so, but then if you are a bigger brand, you would obviously pay more to be near the center. But if you went to the Arnold and you asked them for everything that we included in a package, which was what our goal was to put it all into one package, we didn't want people paying. Was one of the complaints that we had heard was that they hated paying the little fees at the end or paying this little amount that they didn't see coming.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked them to tell me the cost if they could put together absolutely everything. So shipping, taking it from the
That
advanced
stuff
warehouse to the
costs
show,
a
dropping it
lot of
at your
money,
booth.
by the way.
Yep. The carpet, the Wi-Fi, the power, the frame, the banners. We packaged everything together for them into one price, and that was all they paid. And I think if you had gone to them, you wouldn't have got the, I guess, the treatment and then this placement and a few of the other things, but you probably would have got similar in the back of the show. But the purpose was that you were kind of in a nice little collective. Every brand was kind of feeding into each other, and then you know, you weren't left outside, I guess, when you're in the back corner trying to sell versus, I guess, present yourself right at the front alongside several other big name brands, similar minds.
Right.
I think the audience feeds off it. I think that the consumers all liked it. And then brands, I think, also felt like if you're someone who's just started your brand 2 years ago and you get a 10 by 10, you spend all this money, you don't have much power to bring anything in. But then I guess if you're in this stacked thing, that is all kind of taken care of. You kind of feel more confident. Brands seem to like just being a part of it. And I think yeah, I mean, I think it all just kind of came together incredibly well.
You gonna do it again next year? Is this gonna be an ongoing thing?
Oh, it'll be next year.
Awesome.
We've already, it was, I think next year it'll be 50%, 70% bigger.
Sweet.
Um, and then we'll hopefully add, I don't know how much room we'll have, it might be 5 to 10 more brands. Still small enough so that people feel like they're left out. That was kind of what I wanted. I didn't want, you don't want half the show being this pavilion because it's not a pavilion anymore. It's just half the show.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we still wanted to keep it selective and small to some extent so that again, like it would feel like an army of little guys taking on the big brands with the giant 20-foot booths and whatnot.
Cool. I love it, man. That was an awesome idea.
Yeah, you made your own
And I heard
marketplace.
great stuff
And
about it.
everyone wanted to join.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah,
really,
no,
really
it was fun. And I got to take home the sign too.
Yeah, I saw you
Cool.
post that. You should have we should get more of that on your site. I think everyone should enjoy seeing all that work that you put into it.
Yeah, that had to be a lot of work. I mean, I know from planning, the cage and animal, I know how much months of work, and you're doing it for multiple
It was it
brands.
was it was interesting because I mean they did offer, they said, hey, did you want someone to help you? And I was like, no, I wanted to do it all myself, mostly because these were guys that I knew, these were friends, these were people that I talked to anyway. Half of them I just talked to and brought it up at the end of the conversation. Just say, hey, we're launching this product on this day. I was like, hey, I'm doing the Arnold if you want to come. They were like, hell yeah. That was just how about 50% of my pitches went.
Cool.
And so I didn't want to pass them off to anyone. And it was so I got to learn the whole way about why this cost this, why this was this, why this was that, and where to go for this. And so, you know, you wouldn't, I felt bad that it was a lot of work in that sense, but I wanted to do it that way just because I felt that if brands have a really good time, and when they're small brands, you're dealing with the owners, you're not dealing with the sales guy.
Right.
When they can see that they're being attended to like right away, and I'm calling someone on the spot to find out where their shit is, not like, hey, talk to this guy. That is probably an experience that they might not ever get in any other show. And if I can provide that for them, it's the least I could do to have them there.
That's
Tremendous help
great.
for a little
That's
little
great.
brand.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, the Arnold was huge. And UK was good for you as well? Similar experience? Did you do Arnold UK?
I didn't do anything there. I went, we checked it out. I think we are doing a pavilion there next year. We
I
have
can only
to
imagine. Yeah.
get an idea on the pricing, and then there were
And
definitely
logistics.
5 to 10 brands that wanted to do it when I was there. Um, but yeah, we need to sort out the logistics of it all, and then
Yeah.
we're also looking to do a deal where if you're a US brand that wanted to then do the UK, you would get like certain discount for doing
Both.
one after the other type thing.
Cool. FIBO next. FIBO Stack Pavilion.
This is
No.
an Arnold. This is an Arnold exclusive.
Okay. All right.
I am going to FIBO though. I'll be there next week.
Cool. Yeah, you gotta be there. I like FIBO. That's a fun show. Long
Yeah.
show. Very long show,
Yeah.
FIBO.
How these shows are
4
all so-
days.
4 days, and they have these crazy long hours. You're on your feet. It's a blast in the music, and it's a long show. But fun. Different culture, totally different vibe.
Fun.
But fun.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
that was this year at the Arnold. They extended the hours, like first time ever. We're doing 9 to 7 for customers. I'm like,
Yeah, I
awesome.
didn't.
Wow.
When
I
you're
told her
working
about
it,
that.
It's like
guys,
It's
that was
like-
really like 7 to 7 or 8 to 7.
yeah, when you're working it, those are long days on your feet, nonstop.
a lot
it's
of,
nonstop.
a lot of
man.
stim and a lot of protein and a lot of stim.
Yeah, yeah. Shane, how many Bear Bells bars did you eat during the Arnold weekend?
I was the opposite, man. I didn't eat. I barely had breakfast. I only had a shake for breakfast so that the caffeine didn't have me jittery when I hit the floor.
Right.
So I would have an energy drink, and the protein was just intended to slow it down. But then I wouldn't eat until like 3, 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this wasn't intentional. Like if
Goes
I
by
saw
like
something,
that.
I'd grab it. But
Yeah, you just get
it
busy.
was
Yeah.
just
Yep.
making sure everyone had everything sorted. Checked in on everyone throughout the day.
How much caffeine did
just
you
got,
ingest each day?
I don't break the gram, even on the worst of times.
Break the gram.
Damn, that's a
Usually-
lot, dude.
Usually, my day to day is just usually a pre-workout. I don't usually have anything else on top of that.
Right.
But on the days that did the show, maybe 3 energy drinks and a pre-workout.
That's almost a
Not in
gram.
one
Yeah,
go.
that's close to a
That's
gram.
close to a gram.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
close. It's close. I think I calculated it at 480 plus the pre-workout at 400.
Woo.
How did you
Yeah,
feel
that's
at the end of the day when when it was nighttime? How did you feel after all that caffeine?
I didn't. So I wasn't sleeping much on any day. So I was going to sleep at like 2 or 3 just because I was doing work, and then waking up at 6 or 7.
And you're running on adrenaline.
But I did that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I was kind of. I didn't know. It's kind of when you set your alarm and something you're excited about, and you wake up
Yeah.
and you like
Oh,
don't
yeah.
need the alarm to be awake. But then some days when it's something you don't want to do, you just press the snooze button.
Yeah.
Shit. I was
Yeah.
waking up on very little sleep, completely functional, and I felt great. So I was like, "Hey, this." Went back to my normal routine.
Yeah, you're running on adrenaline that whole weekend.
Yeah, it was good. I got everything done.
Awesome.
I felt we did a good job. Couldn't have done it any
Nah,
other way, I don't think.
I heard great feedback, so you did a great job with that one.
I was looking for
Thank
some of
you.
the booths that I might have had on my phone, but I was so busy at my booth, I didn't even get a chance really to walk around and visit you. Thank God you visited me.
Oh yeah, I stopped by. You guys were on the way out. There was a nice, easy like check in. I could just
Yeah,
stop by
right
you
next to
guys
the
on the way
lovely
to the door.
bathroom.
I'm coming next year.
Yeah.
I had a conflict that I couldn't make it this year, but I'm definitely coming next year. I don't have a conflict.
He's
so.
gonna have a poor power
Oh,
and
next year's.
nutrition booth at the Arnold.
I looked into
look
it.
him
It's
up-
pretty,
Look
it's
him up
pretty
in the
expensive.
pavilion, man.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We know a guy.
When he gets into the pet space, maybe.
That's it. That's it.
We
Well, I know
are
we're close.
coming close to an hour, so if you guys got any more questions for Shane, now's the time.
I know we covered the Arnold, right? We covered the different subs. You know, maybe I would say, hey, what's your favorite, raw ingredient? Maybe that you're seeing being put in products, like what excites you when you see it in a pre-workout or in any product, any specific ingredient that you're like, yeah, when that gets added to a sup, that turns into one of my favorites.
I can't say anything cheap because otherwise I would just say whey protein.
That's boring.
Yeah, it's boring. I would say Synactive,
Okay.
mostly because it's like a recent thing. Synactive, I'm a big fan of arachidonic acid,
Excellent ingredient. Underrated ingredient.
and GABA.
Yeah, wow,
I
GABA.
love GABA
Mhm.
just because at good amounts, not the half a gram or the gram. Usually, like I quite enjoy it at the five range around there.
It takes your breath. Do you get that? That you kind of lose your breath when you take it. Have you had that effect?
This is scary as shit.
Yeah.
When you even when you know it's coming, it's scary
Yes.
as shit.
It's a weird
Wow.
effect.
It's not even a weird effect. It's like it's just you can't breathe as deeply, and then it's long enough to where you think like, wait, is it coming back?
It's yeah, it's
It's
something.
not,
Especially at the dose you're taking. That's a big dose.
I don't know. I've always enjoyed the sleep that I've had on it, and I mean, back in the day, people did 5 grams. I remember seeing 6, and nowadays people are doing it in the milligrams. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm not sure why they changed. Um, we can still use it, and it's I just had much better results on in and around the five area.
Yeah, it's a serious dosage. That's you're gonna forget who you are for a while taking that dosage.
No, it's good. The GABA, I've always liked GABA as well because melatonin, I find if I have too high of an amount, um,
Yeah,
I mean,
grogginess.
it knocks you out all the same. But then you wake up feeling like shit. It's
I don't have that
GABA.
effect.
I haven't.
I
You
don't
haven't
have that
got
effect
that?
with melatonin. No, and I'm taking high amounts of melatonin every night.
Are you really?
What's a high amount, Scotty?
75.
Wait,
Oh,
say
75,
okay,
what?
no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Say who?
not
75 milligrams?
7.5, 75?
Yes.
That is a tremendously high amount.
Yeah.
What's the theory
Yeah, I'm
behind?
talking like 5 to 10.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Really?
thinking. 5 or
No.
10. What's
That's
the
what I
theory
was
behind
thinking.
taking such a high amount, Scotty?
Well,
You
it
don't wake up.
not just for really for sleep. It's really good immune wise. You know, it really is. There's some real good research out there.
I know that. Huh.
Interesting.
That's
And I wake up. You know what time I wake up in the morning? So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Wow.
Maybe I got to
Well,
try 75.
don't combine it with GABA, please.
He's got to
it
counteract
won't
his
wake up. Right? It won't
gram of
wake up.
caffeine.
Don't make your own
Well,
proprietary blend, please.
the problem with GABA is it's just not that common anymore. So I can't
True.
don't stumble across that, unfortunately.
It's
Yeah.
not in a lot of products. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Cool.
Definitely.
Maybe I gotta juice up my melatonin dose. Maybe that's where I'm going wrong.
Well, we don't want you to have to take 75 milligrams of melatonin tonight, so we appreciate your
We gotta
generosity
build
with
up
your
towards it.
time. We definitely appreciate your generosity with your time and just like I said, in closing, just knowing the type of person you are, being generous, being giving, and just wanting to do this because you love it, and getting everyone to join you on the bandwagon to be part of it as just a great resource. You hear Scott talking about it. He's excited to get an email at noon because he knows it's going to be, interactive. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be educating, and we all get to make better decisions because of the information you put out there in a fun, dynamic way.
And it's credible.
Yeah, most
Credible, authentic, and you've been a positive force in the supplement industry, which isn't always a positive place, um, which is a good thing.
I'd say
very
just
true.
keep on doing what you're doing, pal.
Oh, thank you.
And obviously, what's the best ways to find you? I mean, we could talk about stack3d.com, talk about your Instagram, talk about LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever you'd like. Please talk about it. And then, of course, we'll tag it as well.
Yeah, I mean the website's stack3d.com, I guess, if you want the pronunciation of the spelling. Um, and then bookmark it, sign up for the email, go on the socials. pretty much covered from everywhere there. But we, as I say, we always encourage people to go to the site just to. That's just where absolutely everything gets shared. Not everything tends to go on Instagram. Sometimes you get shitty pictures. Sometimes I can't help it. But everything will go on the site.
Awesome. So those of you watching, if you haven't checked it out, definitely Stack3d. You gotta use this as your resource. If not for anything else, just some great reading, great learning. Shane really just puts out a great product, a great platform, and just a great service for all of us that are into health, fitness, bodybuilding, weightlifting, any sports. So Shane, thank you again for your time today. On behalf of Scott, Eric, myself, we're honored to have you on Gym Guys Podcast. Check us out on Gym Guys Pod, Gym Guys Podcast, and episode 25. Shane Smith, CEO of Stack3d. Thanks again, everyone. Train hard, sup the right way.